Shalom, family. Good to see you all here. Hope you're doing well. Boy, yesterday I really needed that day off. I didn't have such a good day, but I'm here and I'm feeling a little better. So, family, we're going to talk about something Donald Trump said he's going to do. And I just don't know how he can justify cutting federal funding off from blue states, but not red states. I just see him running into a lot of problems with this one. You know, even with sanctuary cities, you can't fund red states and not fund blue states. But this is what he intends on doing. And it looks like nobody is stopping him now. A couple of judges said, he can't do this, unconstitutional. He can't do it. But when does that ever stop Donald Trump? It doesn't. But here's the thing that he's not thinking about. The blue states actually fund the red states. The red states really don't make that much money as the blue state. The blue states actually have more income, more people making more income, and the income is higher in blue states than in red states. So if you fail to fund blue states, it's going to have a domino effect. It's also going to impact the red states. So, look, y'all, we'll see how this year plays out. It just looks kind of comical to me, the way Donald Trump is doing things. And I do have another live where Donald Trump left 66 international organizations. And that move actually cuts Africa off from stealing our reparations money. Remember, they were trying to make us the sixth region and trying to coax the US into sending them our reparations money instead of it coming to us. Well, Donald Trump shut all of that down. He said Africa is not entitled to any reparations money from the US. So that's dead now. So we'll get more into that at 1:45 today. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me go ahead and share my screen so we can get started. But I do agree, all of the funding should not go to immigrants. And that I do agree with. I do. But see, not funding also leads to other things. There's a lot of people getting heating assistance. That's going to be impacted. Childcare is going to be impacted. So anything that funds your state on the federal level will be impacted. It's just not going to be, immigration and that's it. Thank you, everybody.
Additionally, starting February 1st, we're not making any payments to sanctuary cities or states having sanctuary cities because they do everything possible to protect criminals at the expense of American citizens, and it breeds fraud and crime and all of the other problems that come. So we're not making any payment to anybody that supports sanctuary cities.
Starting February 1st, Trump is cutting federal funding to sanctuary cities, states that have sanctuary cities. He states we're not making any payments to sanctuary cities or states having sanctuary cities because they do everything possible to protect criminals at the expense of American citizens, Trump said. And it breeds fraud and crime and all the other problems that come. So we're not making any payments to anybody that supports sanctuary cities or supports sanctuary, he added. Trump also criticized Minnesota officials by discussing what he described as widespread fraud in that state. We have also suspended payments to suspected scammers in Minnesota, of which there are many, Trump said it's a great state. It was a great state. Now it's getting destroyed by the stupid governor. Trump went on to add Governor Tim Walz of corruption and said the level of fraud could not have gone unnoticed by state leadership. That's how bad the fraud was. It could have not gone unnoticed by state leadership. Like, they should have picked up on it, but instead they let it to continue. The U.S. Department announced it will withhold funds for programs in 5 Democratic-led states, citing concerns over fraud and misuse of federal dollars. The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services also announced it will withhold funds for programs in 5 Democratic-led states, citing concerns over fraud and misuse of federal dollars. As previously reported, those programs include the Child Care and Development Fund, the Temporary Assistance for Needy Families Program, and Social Services Block Grant. Families who rely on child care and family assistance programs deserve confidence that these resources are used lawfully and for their intended purposes. HHS Deputy Secretary Jim O'Neill has said in a statement, these states that challenge the action include California, Colorado, Illinois, Minnesota, and New York, which argue in court filings that the federal government does not have the legal authority to end the funding. So February 1st, they're cutting funds to these sanctuary cities and these states.
If you live in a blue state or city, you need to hear what Trump said today. This is a declaration of economic civil war.
Starting February 1st, we're not making any payments to sanctuary cities or states having sanctuary cities because they do everything possible to protect criminals at the expense of American citizens.
You heard it. February 1st, all federal funding is being cut to sanctuary cities and sanctuary states, aka blue states. States that are fighting against his policies, states that are fighting back against immigration enforcement. He's cutting off federal funding. But what does that federal funding go towards? I am so glad you asked. That goes towards the SNAP benefits, food stamps, food assistance, heating and utility assistance. Unemployment insurance is also subsidized by the federal government in some states. So they are literally going to try and starve the American people into submission. That's what this is. He thinks that by withholding federal funding, they're going to starve the American people into submission. We now know the date, February 1st, and I'm sure states are going to challenge this in court. I can almost guarantee that. What happens? To be determined, but we now have a date, February 1st. And by the way, that actually coincides with a potential government shutdown. You know, we had another one of those coming at the end of the month, right? So pay attention. They're trying to starve us into submission, and we cannot let that happen.
So coming back to the federal funds that President Trump wants to cut to sanctuary cities, how is the city going to be impacted by this?
He can't do that. I'm not going to entertain his threat as a function that he can actually do. This president has threatened our city and other cities across America on multiple fronts. I just want to name the fact how unnatural this person's behavior is. The amount of dollars that our Chicago Department of Public Health has received through federal grants has been quite substantial. We saw in this year's budget, there's been, significant reduction in those federal grants. And so everything from public health to, again, our transportation system to safety, right? I mean, he's cut $800 million off of the budget to put into the hands of the ultra rich that would have otherwise gone to CVI and other safety measures. This president continues to put working people in harm's way.
So good day today. Big T came out with an announcement today as of February 1st. There will be no monies going to sanctuary cities or states containing sanctuary cities. I'm in full fucking support. No monies for child care and all the rest of that bullshit that they've been faking out. You know what I'm saying? Word through the grapevine, according to Mr. Elon, that our deficit, you know what I'm saying, half of our deficit is theft, which I can believe it. I mean, this is the richest country on the planet. It didn't make sense because they take every motherfucking dime and penny that they can get their hands on. I'm in full support of it. Waterheads, it's time to go.
The President of the United States has just announced that he's cutting off all federal funding to blue states. This would be the collapse of the United States of America if he is not prevented from doing this. This is an illegal seizure of spending power. This is a collapse of federalism, and it is a constitutional coup. Infrastructure in states will come to a screeching halt. So construction workers will lose their jobs in mass. Road projects will end. Transit projects will end. Medicaid will be shut off. Hospitals will close. Nurses and doctors won't get paid, and nursing care facilities will shutter. School lunches, food assistance, public workers, and state budgets will completely collapse. This will cause the loss of life and irreparable harm to children, to the elderly, to veterans, to working families all across this country. And we will officially be an authoritarian government. Our Constitution will be null and void. This is serious, and we should take it serious. Congress needs to act now. Democrats and Republicans. He is destroying the United States of America as we know it.
So on January 13th, Trump delivered a speech at the Detroit Economic Club. He announced that all federal payments to sanctuary cities and the states that harbor them will be suspended starting February 1st. That includes funding for law enforcement, healthcare, transportation, and even disaster relief in places like California, New York, Illinois, and Minnesota. Trump said these jurisdictions do everything possible to protect criminals at the expense of American citizens. He blamed sanctuary policies for enabling fraud, crime, and systemic abuse and said it's time for consequences. The crowd liked that. And on X, conservative voices like Nick Sorter called it long overdue. But this is already shaping up to be like a constitutional cage match. Blue state leaders are gearing up to sue, and legal experts point out that Trump's first-term attempt to do this was blocked in court. But this time, with different judges and clearer roadmap, the administration seems determined to fight it through. So we'll see what happens. I'll keep you guys up to date. Also, don't forget, I have a free email newsletter I send out every morning around 7 a.m. Central. It's a good tool to have in your arsenal. It's a good way to stay up to date. The link to that is in my profile. So just click that link, drop your email in, hit subscribe, and you'll be good to go. That's all I got for now. I'll see you in the next one.
Starting February 1st, POTUS has made a decision that he's going to cut off all funding to any sanctuary city states. So basically, we can assume he's implying all of the blue states. Now, you say the blue states are going to get screwed, and for good cause. But here's the thing. What if all the people in the blue states say, you know what? We're not going to pay our federal taxes if our state isn't going to get any of that money back? Well, that would mean that it's the red states that are screwed, because do you know that the blue states are the highest income earners and pay the most into the federal taxation system? In other words, it's the blue states that carry the red states. And if the blue states who aren't getting federal funding decide they're not going to put any other money into the federal funding and they put it into their own states and their own infrastructure, well, then they fare much better, because now they're not carrying the weight of all those other states that don't have high income earners. I'd say it's like him cutting his nose off to spite his face, but it's not. He's cutting your noses off to spite your own faces. And why in February of 2016, he says, I love poorly educated people. And in 2025, he said, smart people don't like me. Now, by the way, I am apolitical. I'm not on either side, because to me, they're just two wings on the same bird. So you might want to go back and read.
Because local governments, the city and state governments, do not want to follow federal law. And it's real simple. Let ICE do what they got to do. The federal law is a federal law. No state shall impede on federal law. You know, that is the law of the land. But I digress. It really sucks, man, because there's people out there that really do need public assistance, SNAP, welfare, whatever you want to call it. And you know, these kids and these families are going to suffer all because of these governors and mayors that think they're better than everybody. And they're going to blame it on Trump, but it's really them. They're the reason everybody's losing their benefits. Once all this is settled, they'll gain them back. But for now, it sucks, man. People are going to suffer.
Yeah. You know, that's my concern. I don't care about the illegals. I don't think they should get anything. I don't think these states and cities should focus on them above all else. And I do agree with that part. You know, too much has been poured into immigration in this country, way too much. They went overboard. But I do feel sorry for people that are getting assistance because all of that, when he cuts the funding on February 1st, if you were getting heating assistance and you are in a blue state, that is gone. If you were getting any type of help with your health care or your child care, I mean, everything is gonna be cut off for the blue states, and like they said, SNAP benefits people that rely on that federal funding so they could put food on the table. So it's not like it impacts just immigration only. No, it's gonna impact everything. Everything, y'all. These hospitals, your grocery stores that have depend on a lot of payments from your SNAP benefits going in there, people getting SNAP and going in there shopping for their food. Everything is going to be impacted. Everything. So, yes, on immigration, yeah, screw that. That's not a necessity. These people can go home. But for the people that really truly need assistance, I do feel for them. I do, because it's going to be a tough road ahead for your family or your friends that depend on assistance. It's going to be a tough road ahead for them, you know? So, y'all, oh, yeah, yeah, me, no black community. I see that PMTV. Yeah, you're right, but these folks need to go home. They really do. They need to go home and, all the scamming is cut off. They're not gonna be the Somalians are being watched like a hawk. So they're not gonna be able to pull off any more scamming. But, I don't think everybody should suffer because of them. I think they need to be mass deported out of here. All of them involved. Yeah, they need to go. But we'll see how it goes because, February is not that far away, y'all. It's not far away at all. Just in case you did not see my notice that I put up in my community tab, we are getting anywhere from 12 to 16 inches of snow in my area. And I'm just letting everybody know that place orders over the next couple of days. There could be delays. Now, I'm going to get the orders out as usual, but I'm just telling you, as far as you receiving it in your normal time, you may get it in like 3, 4 days. It may be a little longer because of the inclement weather in my area, but you most certainly can still place your orders. And, it's clear until Sunday. So I can definitely get everything out of here the following day. But once Sunday and Monday come when the snow will be hitting, that might be another issue. So I just wanted to give everybody heads up. There could be delays in you getting your hair products next week. So as long as you purchase with that understanding, we should be okay. And my fundraiser is still out there, ladies and gentlemen, more than halfway, which I'm very humble and grateful for that. So, but I still have my date of February 18th for my surgery. And last but not least, I will be doing live selling for the first time over on TikTok. I put the link in my community tab. Even if you don't want to get anything and you just want to be a spectator to see how that's done, that is a thing that has just exploded in popularity all over the internet. And there's a lot of sites that do it. I know eBay does it. They do live selling. TikTok has done it for the last couple of years. Um, Shopify also got their version of live selling. So, this is something that a lot of people have been gravitating to, because you have the actual owner of the products live explaining each product, how they work, and you can buy right there, at the live stream. So, I haven't done it yet. I've heard about it. I've been researching it. So, I'll be doing it for the first time this evening at 6 o'clock. So, it will run from 6 to 7, and I'll be showcasing 10 of my products and talking about those products. So, if you are interested, I will see you then. I do have more lives coming up on YouTube. I have another one at 1:45 about, Donald Trump cutting off the African Union from getting our reparations money, so that is no longer a possibility. They can't try to scam our money away from us, so that is officially dead. So I will see you then. Thank you for your support, and thank you for being here today. Shalom, family.